Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyway, all right. Welcome back to Birds of. What the hell is the name of the show? Definitely taking this out. Okay.
Everybody's thrown off today, huh? Hey.
Mercury is Gatorating. All right.
Gatorade.
Okay. Welcome to another edition of Birds of a Feather, the co-ed edition. It's your girl AJ, the Suburban Princess, here, back in action to talk about what we tried to do a live taping for last weekend, but that night went slow.
God, that I don't know. It never went that slow before.
I do feel like even between Eddie and I both, we knew we were in for a long night, but between Eddie and I both, we kind of were like, eh. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of. Anyway, welcome Eddie B. Well, what's up, homie?
Much. Got back to work today. Uh,
First day
felt
back.
felt felt good. So
Yeah, busy. You kept
yeah,
busy.
yeah.
Well, I've been having a sucky week, so I can't wait till Friday because this whole week can just kiss my ass. But anyway, that's just my own personal. Anyway, we're here to discuss the wonderful turnout that the draft had in general, whether or not we were doing our live cast for the one night. We saw obviously the main choice that the Eagles made.
hmm
Both decisions ended up kind of being what I secretly thought might happen after all that hype over Bijan Robinson, and he went to Atlanta. We ended up getting Jalen
Uh,
Carter
I
first
didn't.
and
I didn't want
Nolan.
him anyway. So.
No, we didn't. Honestly, I mean, as much as I understood the obsession, I kind of was like, we really don't. And it worked out. They got two defensive players for the first and second and third round. When did Nolan come? Later in the first round? I'm
No, it
totally
was
blanking.
he was 30. Yeah.
Yeah, so we technically kept up where we were at. I think they moved up for Jalen, right? They moved up to 9 to
Yeah, they
get
moved up
Jalen
to
Carter.
9. Yeah, because a lot of people were calling. Everybody's like, "Well, why did they move only one spot?" I was like, "Cause a lot of people were calling Chicago was going to make a deal. It was like
Yeah.
either they're gonna make it with us or somebody else." And it was like, okay, well, if we don't make that deal, we're not getting the player we want.
And the way he
Not
was
not to
falling.
say not to say Chicago was going to pick them, but you know
No.
they other teams wanted Chicago's place to take them. So
I mean, honestly, at this point, Chicago's got a lot more work to do. So I don't think just Jalen Carter would have helped them. Whereas Jalen Carter is more of a compliment for us because we know he can at least get in there
oh
and
yeah,
learn a lot faster with his fellow Bulldogs that we already do have in N'Kobe and uh, why do I always forget his name? Jordan, Big Baby Davis.
yeah, Jordan Davis.
So yeah, so now knowing that we have both Nolan and Jalen under our wings, literally, wow, look at that, birds of a feather, wings. Anyway, the other picks that did come later in the rounds actually turned out to be pretty decent as well. A lot of the excitement usually actually to me ends up being after the draft where they get like the UFDA guys and um the
Yeah, that
biggest
list was
obviously
that
New York
actually
was
list
good.
wasn't bad either. I mean,
It
I
really
was
wasn't bad. They did pretty dang good as far as I'm concerned. They got my boy Sidney Brown, which is what I wanted from University of Illinois, cutie safety. He to me he will be substantial to
did
take
you
the
see
place of
his you
Marcus
see his
Epps.
360 story in the
Not
NFL?
yet, but I know it's sad. I know they've been homeless. His brother went to the Cincinnati Bengals, which good for Chase. But I
His
did want
mom,
him. I didn't
yeah,
know he was going to happen. His mother, yeah, is homeless. Mother's white. I think the father is black. I could be wrong.
I mean, she pretty much left her alone to raise kids.
Yeah, so she was pretty
Yeah,
much just living with these kids with a dream, and I think that's why it's more emotional of a story, which I definitely don't feel like in the mood for watching anything that's crying that involves crying this deep.
yeah.
So, but I heard enough people say that who didn't even think twice about him because most people said the same thing. I watched New Heights today, and Jason Kelsey himself said he didn't have Sidney Brown on his board. So I think the story of someone not being high on anybody's pick list is probably more exciting than we think because, and not comparing him at all to any of the name safety players out there, obviously. I think the more exciting story is someone who you don't think twice about or who you didn't have.
Very
uh,
physical player too. That's what I like about him.
Yeah,
He's
that's why I thought they chose him because they said he was very physical, which I would think you would want that. You know
for
what I mean?
safety. Yeah, you need somebody with a mean streak in him.
Right, and we need that because this is why again, switching to another genre, but with the Sixers, that's why they got PJ Tucker. I mean, you kind of need your team to be defined with an attitude.
You need
You
a
want to kind
dog.
of
You need a
you need
dog.
dogs. Lord knows the word dog got, killed this weekend. In fact, it got to the point where people were already printing T-shirts calling us Philly Bulldogs. So it looks like that the
Mhm.
bird. It looks like Swoopman has some competition for a mascot this year. So
They
we'll
should
have.
have they should have Swoop walking a bulldog. That'd be funny as hell.
I
My
really
first
do
game.
think they should just let us borrow the Georgia Bulldog just for like the
They gotta
opener
get
or something.
they gotta get Ugga out there.
Get
His
Uga out
name,
there.
yeah.
Cute little dog. He's totally unaffected. He wouldn't be freaked out or anything. He'd just be like looking around like, what are y'all screaming about?
I mean,
But
he's used to it. I mean,
yeah, yeah. But I think it was an exciting. I mean, overall, I gave when they were talking about rankings, I would give it A+. I thought it was. I mean, well, I'd give it an A because I really think that I think they ended up getting a punter later in the late rounds. I think they ended up getting a punter, which I think was should be priority because I don't think Sipas is gonna get us over the hump anymore at this point.
yeah.
So I
Oh,
think they
also
did get a
they
punter though.
no, what as unsigned it, undrafted.
I think they got a punter like towards if not the last two rounds. I know that they ended up getting one from maybe a undrafted. But
Yeah, I think it was undrafted because the last pick was a defensive tackle, a guy from Texas.
oh, okay. Who I think just signed today. I know that Jalen signed. Jalen signed his
Yeah,
rookie
he was
deal
the first
already.
first rounder to sign. Yeah,
I
so
was like, damn. I was like, they didn't even they didn't even have to get to OTAs. I guess just the opening interviews and everything. Um, all in all, what was your impression though when you went to hear? Because we were trading texts later in the weekend about
but
what
I
people
thought
thought.
they did a great job because they addressed a lot of needs in this draft, and I agree with people were saying, oh yeah, they won the draft. They say, oh well, Eagles won the draft because
Mhm.
they addressed all the needs that they had in this period. They went off what they needed. They got some guys that are gonna do something year one. May not start, but they're gonna be successful like depth for
Yeah.
depth and like stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
depth is what we needed. We didn't really need to build a roster. So that was the most exciting thing about I think that's why this draft seems so kind of ho hum for us because our team was just in the Super Bowl. So
hmm
we don't really have a lot of needs except for the defensive side, obviously, for depth. So you and I both knew that going into this draft, we weren't like desperate, but we
hmm
clearly need some more help in the defensive realm. They also signed a backup quarterback, Tanner McGee. He signed today.
yeah, who's just
Um,
gonna be there
yeah,
to
he's just going to be there because they already have the other backup guy.
who knows?
Um,
I mean, they may make them compete.
I mean, obviously, everybody here they just signed another tight end today from the Jaguars, so that's someone to compete as
Who's the
well.
guy? Was it Ojima or something? What's his
Yeah,
name?
Moro Ojomo. Yeah, he's the one I said
No, no, not
defensive
not
back.
no, not the tap, not the D tackle. I'm talking about it was a wide receiver that was
Oh
signed
yeah,
today.
he was from another team. Olamide
Yeah, I couldn't say his
Olamide.
name, but
I couldn't
Olamide or
either.
something. Yeah,
Apologize, sir.
yeah.
I'm just
So
gonna call him Ozzy. Um,
Ozzy, yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
he
one.
spoke with the media, so yeah, we got him from another team. So he's gonna obviously be there to light Quez up because Quez is probably already pissed, but he'll get over it. Um,
Quez may see him end up seeing himself out. So
well, you never know. I mean, to me, this is why the Eagles do this too to light a fire because sometimes it's also just more exciting in the OTAs as well as training camp. Oh, and how did we neglect to talk about the biggest steal as far as a running back? And it's not speaking of Bijan, but what it ended up happening, they ended up trading and getting
oh
for
Swift, yeah. I mean,
DeAndre Swift.
I thought
Come on.
how he's a fucking wizard. I don't know how he pulled that off, but
I mean, he's our AJ for this season. Like just how AJ came out of nowhere. Here comes DeAndre Swift, and everybody was talking about, are we going to get a running back? I'm like, do we need one though? You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, boom. I
yeah.
think you would text me first, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh, when I
Because
saw it,
I
I was
think I
like,
was at the
oh,
women's festival when I found out because that's when Shantae and all them said, "Oh my god, we got DeAndre Swift." I was like, "They did do it." I was like, "Oh my
yeah.
god!"
Because I
And then
text you
you had texted me.
as soon as I heard it, I text you. I was like,
Yeah,
oh shit. I was
I
like,
think I
oh,
think I was crossing the street, walking up, like pissed off because I hate walking straight on the subway. But I was like feeling my calves, and all of a sudden, As soon as I got through the main gate and started greeting people that I remembered from when
Yeah.
I used to work there, I saw that as we were going into we were in the Hyundai Club, which is like formerly the West Club. I don't know what it's called before, but it's the West Club side. And so, but that was exciting. DeAndre Swift, also a local Philly guy. That's a
Hmm.
big deal.
And
He
also a former Georgia Bulldog.
former Georgia Bulldog. So once again, all the memes on TikTok are correct. Yes, Eagles pretty much stole from the UGA
Hey, you know
playbook.
what?
It is what it
Eh,
is. It works for us. Whatever.
Hey, I will definitely take from any like SEC team. You know, it's
Yeah, we learned. I think Oh, also Keely Ringo. Obviously, that was another Georgia Bulldog we got.
yeah.
He was another guy. I know that was another name that most of the guys were talking about on
He's a
Twitter.
big he's a big
He's tall.
cornerback. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Well, we need the tall guy because Lord knows if we want to prevent what happened in the Super Bowl again, we're gonna need somebody like a Keely Ringo.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, he's like
and
what,
then
6'2", 6'2", 6'3"?
yeah, he's very tall. He clinched let's see, 15 pass breakups, 4 interceptions. So you only need someone like him in the corner every now and then, maybe even backing up. What's his name from that we got from the Giants? That we got from the
Oh,
Giants.
yeah, Brad.
Yeah, he may be out there in the middle with them at times, just to create some kind of depth. I mean, already it looks like it's starting to look. It looks like there's definitely going to be some help on the way as the year goes on, and it'll be exciting to find out who is the guy
Yeah,
that actually gets a chance to even
and
fill
they're
in.
and they're and they're, and they're building. Yeah, they're building because they want to make another run, and they're building so they know
Mhm.
some next year we're gonna lose some more guys because they're getting older.
Well,
So
and
yeah,
this is what makes Howie. This is the only time that I understand why people keep calling Howie a wizard because he knows that certain guys have only so many years on a contract that he could keep.
hmm,
So he has to keep rotating. But here's where when you get to these things, when you get to the later rounds and you get to see all the guys once they line up all the picks, like you said, some of these guys may not see the light of day right away. But it's just the fact that Howie knew that I have to have certain
hmm,
additions in a certain position for
yeah,
when, God forbid, somebody goes down early. This will be their time. We all know that DeAndre is going to be in there, obviously, at some point. So,
hmm,
and for the fact that him, just like when Slay came, and now having Slay's former coach here, it's like almost like, how did we end up with three Detroit people who used to be on the same team together, and they're all here on
yeah.
top of Detroit? So it's funny how just things work out. Um, but it wasn't always just I was looking for somebody else we got that wasn't Georgia. There was somebody else who came here from another school that I was like, well, that
Well, we
broke
got
up
a
the Georgia people.
we got the Bama guy from Alabama. We got
Bama.
the tackle or the guard, Crimson.
Oh, okay. Okay. We got Alabama. Right. You're right. I'm just trying to look through the page to see if I can see all the names here because I thought they might have them like all lined up. Either way, I think they did good. What would you give them as far as a grade for the overall
I mean,
draft?
I'd give them a solid A plus, solid A. I mean,
Yeah, I was thinking solid A
you can
too.
leave. You can even lean towards. Like, one of the reasons why I would lean a little more towards A plus is because they did what they needed to do. They didn't overdraft. They didn't overthink it. They went and got what they needed. So
They
I
didn't
mean,
get cute,
yeah, and they
which I
picked up
cracked
some
up.
guys in the whole like and the undrafted guys. They picked up two new wide receivers who
Oh
could
yeah,
be
I did see
decent.
that.
Yeah, I mean, could be decent as well. But
Oh, Tyler Steen, that's what you're talking about, the
yeah,
guard from
Tyler
Alabama.
Steen's a guard. Yeah,
Round 3. Okay, pick
yep.
65. That was the one where they ended up trading for the 66th pick and then they got
Yeah,
him.
when they traded back, yeah.
Yeah. So that was definitely helpful. Um yeah, so I think overall this draft to me was very ho hum in the sense that like there wasn't really anything to get really hyped like it normally is for day one, but you knew that the rumors had to be true because they were getting louder as the night, if you pay attention to social media, the names that were getting tossed to and from. I mean, honestly, I felt bad for the fans who were thinking Bijan was coming because his mother was wearing green that night. That was pretty much a setup for
Well,
failure because,
I don't feel bad for him for thinking like that.
well,
That's
no, no, no. I mean, I just,
that's no, I'm
well,
joking.
but I think that I told you when we were sitting there, I was like, "What if he goes to the Jets? Like, how
Yeah,
do we know she's wearing green for us? You realize the other
yeah.
team that's green here." So, but
Uh-huh.
I think all in all, I think Kansas City had a good look for their draft. I still
Yeah,
think Philly was better, and that
yeah.
we're biased. But we all know that that honestly that trade with DeAndre sets us up for more exciting prospects with the running back committee this year, if anything.
Hmm.
Just like AJ fell right into line. So that's
I
why I
mean,
feel like
he,
some things are destined to happen anyway.
yeah,
But
yep.
and Peep Eddie's t-shirt says Sith Lord. I'm scared. That's why it was funny. We started recording and then he's all in the dark. I'm like, Jesus. Then you have the Sith Lord t-shirt. That's just a great welcome back to the pod. Anyway, all right. So we are clearly in the midst of not only a very exciting training camp, which now I'm really excited, and then I just told you too before we recorded that they did sign a tight end named Dan Arnold from the Jaguars, so he's going to be an additional tight end.
Well,
We'll
they
see what
need
happens.
another one anyway. So
I mean, they have Calcaterra, they have Tyree Jackson, they have what's his name, Stoll. So we'll see where this fits in terms of either backing up Dallas if he gets hurt or
yeah,
another blocking tight
but
end.
who says
This one's the receiving one.
Tyree even makes camp this time? Who knows?
I know we don't know. I mean, I really like feel like it's unfair to just toss him aside because I feel like his
Well, I
injury.
think they're afraid they gave him another shot. I like the fact they gave him another shot.
Yeah, they should have. I think it's his height to me is that why I thought he was useful. Now,
I mean,
mind you,
he's
he didn't
kind of.
do
I mean,
much last year.
he's small. He's small for a tight end though. Very
Yeah, but we
slender.
thought he was tall. I thought.
He's
Remember we?
tall, but as far as like his size, he's
You're talking
pretty
about
like
bulk.
yeah, he's pretty slender for a tight end.
Well, maybe that's why they got Arnold because he is more of a receiving tight end, whereas Stoll is clearly the backup blocker for
Yeah,
Dallas, or like when they use the tight end two tight end set. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, moving on. Just before we end this, I wanted to give a shout out to now we can finally brag. Our Joel Embiid is finally a MVP.
MVP. Yes,
So
it only took 2 years,
right,
right?
technically, and most people have said this. Even Jimmy Butler has said he should have been MVP last year. I totally agree because I felt like
Yeah,
he missed even less games last year than he did this year.
yeah.
See how that shit works out. But look, clearly there was a change because everybody seemed like they were hell bent on trying to give Jokic again this
Okay,
year.
I don't get the whole
I
fascination
don't
with it.
either because that man could be so unaffected either way with the MVP award more than Joel was. And for a while, I think they even wanted to try to give Joel grief for actually being upset about it. And I'm just like, why would you not be upset? Like he said, if I worked this hard to get to this point, knowing I started basketball late in my life,
Hmm.
he goes, anybody who says they don't want MVP is lying. I agree. Because why
Yeah,
wouldn't you want to be the best of your whole, especially his story? You want to talk about a good story outside of Sidney Brown, Joel Embiid's story. Now that I really think about it, I didn't realize how much stuff he's gone through even before he even got to the league. You
before he even
know,
came to the country. I
he
mean,
even came to the country. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And knowing that his brother died, and he said that was one of the reasons why he even felt bad about leaving Cameroon because he felt like he could have done something. I said that's the worst guilt you can have because obviously he couldn't have done anything. But
yeah,
I just feel bad, like, that he even said that because 'cause I'm like, that makes sense why he named his son, um, Al, but at the
yeah.
same time, I just really feel bad because when he said that, I was just like, "Oh god," you know? And he's also in the beginning stages of accepting the reality that he wants to be an NBA player, knowing for sure his father didn't want him to do it because he didn't think
Mm,
he could physically handle it. And now knowing that, it kinda colors all the years we've all been frustrated as fans with him being injured every year, you know?
yeah.
But again, will is more powerful than anything. If you
Hmm.
really know where you belong, if you really have that drive, nothing is going to deter you from trying to get to that goal, no matter how many injuries you have. Iverson's had 20,000 parts of his body broken, and he wasn't going to give up on that play until the day he
Hmm.
actually was traded. So to me, there's a lot of things about Joel Embiid that I think we all as fans sometimes we need to really be thankful that he stepped into Philly and never wanted to leave.
Yeah.
Because we gave him plenty years that he could have left. He could have bailed
Oh,
last year.
yeah, easily.
He could have been if I were him, I'd have been like, fuck this. Like I keep getting here. Y'all can't get me over the hump. Like I'm out. But
Yeah.
he loves being here. And I love the fact that even during his whole speech, did you watch the his presser?
I didn't get a chance to see it, all of it. I
Okay.
heard part of it.
Yeah, you could probably there's clips everywhere. You can go
Yeah,
on
I'll
YouTube.
catch it online. But
I didn't want to get emotional, but I had saw some of it just sitting in my desk yesterday, and I was just like, I don't want to watch this because I know I'm gonna be upset. But then I was like, the more I watched it, I actually wasn't weepy. I was just more like, oh, like I
yeah,
just didn't think about stuff. And They didn't have to give it to him, honestly, but why wouldn't you, knowing that the top three had already had MVP wins already? Like, why? To me, you could look at it like it's like a pity win, or you could look
Hmm.
at it like it's kind of
The
obvious.
fact that he deserved it, yeah. I
Right.
mean,
It's like he earned. It's not like he hasn't earned it, But
yeah.
I do agree. We all thought last year he pretty much had it down, but
Hmm.
it is what it is. Why do you think that? If you think if there's any other reason other than what we probably as fans think, why do you think he hasn't gotten MVP before?
I don't know. Like a lot of people were saying, people were still kind of mad with the Sixers about the whole process thing, and also the simple fact that it's not even look at both those years. How many players are saying he should have been MVP, but the players aren't the ones that vote on it. It's media
Right.
guys that vote on it,
Right.
which doesn't make any fucking sense to me because these
I agree
guys,
with
what the
you.
fuck do they know unless they were actually basketball
And
players
they didn't
before?
unless they played, right.
Yeah, but I mean,
Right.
it's okay with Shaq, Barkley, the guys who actually went out there and grinded and dribbled the basketball up and down, won MVPs. So how's this guy who can write a news report going to tell me that this
Yeah.
guy's a better basketball player than that guy?
Yeah, he's not worthy, yeah.
Yeah,
I agree
so
with
I
you.
just I just don't like that. That's one thing I hate about the system and how it works. But
I
I
think it's
think it
time to
should
tweak it.
I think it should be okay. Yeah, you want the media guys to vote, okay? Then, but at the same time, the players should get a chance to vote too.
I agree. I agree. And even maybe even former MVPs in the future should be able to
Hmm.
get a vote in too.
Yeah, why not?
Because they could influence it knowing that they've already won. And then they can also say, well, based on the criteria that I had to go through, this
Hmm.
person is worthy of it, Because who knows? Next year, obviously I don't know. If they decide to switch the whole way they do it, what if they just strictly want to have just like new faces? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they don't even want to consider and Jokic or Giannis or whatever. So in that sense, how fair would it be if you're left up to media writers who only probably looked at these new faces like once or twice,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they didn't make the
exactly.
playoffs. So that's not going to be fair. I agree. They need to switch it up. To me, it should be just like anything. Like if Chris Paul is part of the NBA players, so like he should get a vote, and
Hmm.
he should allow like maybe former players if they're gonna have players vote as well, you know. So it really depends. I'm with you though. I really do think that there's kind of a setup to fail when you leave it to media because media has a way of swaying with the stories that they write.
Yeah,
Um, personal opinion. So anyway, so what are you feeling even after this loss last night? Because I kind of tuned out, obviously in the fourth quarter.
yeah. I mean, they took a. It just seemed like they were not there. They were a little. They were getting beat in every aspect. Like they didn't shoot well at all. I mean,
No,
if they shot 3 pointers well last night, they would have probably
they
stayed
could
in
have
that
snuck it.
game. It would have been
They,
tight, yeah.
that's
But
what
they
I
were
said.
shooting
I said they could have
horrible,
snuck it. They were.
and Boston
They
and Boston just got hot last night from 3 point
and with
line.
Tatum having fouls early, I thought for sure that was kind of a setup. Like that's your time. Like he's got one more bad foul, and y'all could just go in it. He wasn't even a factor. It was really like
Yeah.
Brogdon and
And
Jason.
Embiid,
I mean,
and then I like the fact that
Jaden.
Embiid shut down a lot of those easy points in the paint that they were getting in
And
game
that's what
one.
people wanted him to do for
In game
years.
one, in game
Right.
one, like defensively, he
Right.
had 5 blocks in the first half,
For
five
first
six
half of that
blocks in the first half. So I
yeah.
mean, even on like his limited play that you know they were trying to be careful with.
I mean,
And
he still hit a few baskets too, though. Now,
yeah, he
mind you,
did.
had everybody else supported that, they would have, like you said, they would have at least only lost by maybe a bucket or 4 points because they even at
Yeah,
halftime they were only down by 8. I wasn't swayed even by halftime. I thought they're down by 8,
yeah. But
considering
for some
Celtics were.
reason, after that, Boston could not miss a 3 pointer. For some
No,
reason,
they couldn't.
they were just hitting everything, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Even the guy with the 5 head was hitting them. The
Yeah,
one the one
the
that
guy,
Shaggy make fun of his
oh,
forehead.
the line is running from his face. Yeah. he,
I feel so bad for that guy because
he,
Shaggy
wear- and
has.
he wears that headband to try
He
and help it
does.
out. Like ain't no hair underneath that band.
Oh my god. I thought I was bad. Like I done took my braids out, and I think my hairline is better than his, and my forehead is big. But I'm just like, yo, dude, that stuff starts here. That's ridiculous. They were calling him Stephen A. for the longest
Oh,
time. But no, you're right. They couldn't hit. It was almost just like 15 KDs out there last night. I was like, where the freak these guys come from? Because y'all weren't doing that game one at all.
Yeah.
But honestly, if that's what Embiid has to do, they have to learn to support. I don't know what it is. This is my only thing whenever time he's hurt is that two, they get so used to being without him that when he goes into the roster, suddenly everybody is just standing around again. And I'm like, I hate that shit. Like y'all
Yeah,
should
but
be able to really
I didn't see him
adjust.
standing around that yesterday a lot, but they just weren't hitting any shots.
No, that was clear, but I do
Yeah.
think that at times when I thought Tobias disappeared, I think Tobias was boning up on defense. That's why he wasn't shooting as much.
Well,
So
Tobias actually he's been playing well these playoffs. I
he
mean,
has no,
yeah,
but that's why I thought it was weird. I didn't see him a lot, so then I forgot
yeah,
about him, and then he hit like he missed one, and then he hit another three. So then I was like, all right, so why is he not getting free? Like, what's the
yeah.
strategy
Like
here?
him and Maxie have got to keep attacking.
Yeah, they've been spotty. They've been
They have
spotty
to
since the first
attack. They
game.
have to because they're gonna be that difference maker. Like
And
I don't
Melton,
know,
you
and
you
Melton
got
off the
Melton
bench. I
and
mean,
Max
a
is
guy coming off the
hot.
bench. Yeah,
Yeah, because Melton seemed to always get the
and
momentum to keep going.
when he's on and he's hitting his threes. Oh man,
He was lit, and then all of a sudden you see what happened because as like someone said, I was just listening to Mike Missinelli's podcast, and he said you're not going to get Harden hitting 45 minutes. I mean 45 points every night.
every game. Yeah,
Like that was just a rare occurrence. But
I mean, I don't know.
you
I don't
know,
know what did he end up with last night.
like
20.
yeah, like two. They said he shot 2 for 30 or something.
Oh
It was
God.
bad. It was bad. Yeah, he wasn't getting nothing, and then on top of that, I could tell like he just wasn't able to even get his shuffle going quick enough.
Hmm.
And I felt like Maxi just was only good under for a layup, but he gave up on trying to do his threes too hard. And then I don't know what the hell Niang was doing. I just almost thought they put him in too early. I was like, what is he doing? And then at one point, I don't know what if he like mid decision to
Yeah.
throw a jumper and it got blocked. And I said, what was that? What are y'all doing? It was just one of those games where you're just like you said, like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, like why?
Y'all just Jekyll and Hyde from game
It's
one.
like all of a sudden they can't hit. We can't hit anything, and they can all of a
Right.
sudden.
You can't buy a vowel with these buckets. And then people want to say, well, maybe we started it had nothing to do with Joel being in and out. That was a
No,
team thing. That had nothing to
yeah.
do with Joel. Because I was
I mean,
secretly
they were
thinking like
shooting
they
what
shouldn't start him.
30%. They were shooting like 30% at one
30%.
point, and I was like, wow, this is
And
bad.
Missinelli said they had 51 three-pointers on Celtics last night.
And this is
51.
and this is bad. That's
And
bad.
that's bad. So when you putting in Springer and all them in fourth quarter and Shake and all them, that's not good. That's not a good
Yeah, I
sign.
mean, Doc was pretty much like, all right, nobody else is getting hurt.
He said
We're done. Like right
He
now.
said, "Y'all look like shit. Sit your asses down. Like
Yeah.
I can't look at this anymore."
Did you
And
hear? You heard what he was saying to him on the side. He's like, they're beating us to everything. Like, what is going on?
yeah, y'all are just blanking. Yeah,
You guys are letting them beat you to every aspect of the game right now. He said
yeah,
in his hoarse voice, you know, like, hey
yeah. I know what
guys,
Tobias
she's
is
like,
for.
we're not doing to the ball. Like, you need to get over here. I
I don't have any voices. It is.
I can't keep yelling like this, guys. Like,
I know because half the time you be see you can tell when he looks like a disapproved dad on the sidelines. Like,
oh God, yeah. Like he's like, I'm gonna beat their ass when they get
like
over
where
here.
he's just like, well, you won't come out here look like a bitch. You won't play like a bitch. It's just
You see him
what
undo
you
you
want me to do.
see Doc undoing his belt on the sideline, standing
Yeah,
there.
like secretly just like, all
He's
right.
like, I'm about to fuck one of y'all up when y'all come back over here.
Because it's probably his first thought is always, I gotta explain this shit. Like I
Mhm.
knew they were gonna come out like this. Like I gotta act like, well, it's what happened. And they all gotta go back and go, you wasn't helping. You wasn't doing shit either. What you mad at me for?
Yeah.
You know? But no, I'm not worried. Friday is gonna be off the hook. Now
Oh
I'm
yeah,
with
they got get some home cooking, see what happens here.
first of all, we all know that probably the fouls might turn up too, because this is what always happens when they split the first games of the series. Someone's going to be over aggressive, whether it be Sixers overcompensating for not being
Hmm.
aggressive or Boston being overly aggressive, trying to like finish you off mentally, like trying to be like, you can't even win at home. Watch.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that we see some more Melton threes and more Maxi and pick and roll with Harden if need be. And if Joel
Yeah.
is in there, I want him to just stay doing what he did last night as far as being under the basket, because he doesn't need to play point guard. He can just decide, I'm just here to block the shots. Like that's all I can do. Like I'm not going to be throwing my
Yeah.
body all over the place. And that you see that one foul that he just totally collapsed on. Everybody goes, "Oh, come on, Embiid."
He gave him a little shove and he just fell over like my
Bro,
knee.
Williams just bumped him in the back, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh, he humped him on hump day."
Yeah, I don't think he's used. I don't think he's used to that brace either.
That definitely
Because
could be the
you
case
can
because he
tell by the
was
way he's
tussling it.
moving. Yeah, the
He
way
was
he was,
sliding up his leg.
the way
Yeah.
he was like moving, like that. He's not confident enough to plan on it.
At least it's not the
So,
mask though. If
oh
he can work
god,
through the mask, the knee is probably the last, uncomfortable that he's been. Considering all his injuries, this is actually not the worst injury he's had.
oh
It's just that
yeah,
it's one of those
shattered,
nagging ones.
shattered face. Yeah,
He's broken both orbital bones. Like at this point, and then I always ask, like, do you get surgery for that, or is that always just going to be permanently broke? Does the face just heal? Does the bone ever heal? Like, how does that work?
I
Because I'm
mean,
curious. Because he
it
never
just
went into
it's
surgery.
because you can't really cast it, so it just heals. You gotta
You just got to let it grow.
slowly heals over time. You
Because I
gotta be
can tell
careful.
one eye is still a little sunken in if you've ever looked at him. Like his
Mm,
one eye does seem a little swollen still on the one side, and I said, I wonder
mm,
if that's because the bone never healed. It's just one of those things. I just anal side of me just can tell. I'm like one eye does not look as big as the other. I don't know if he's
yeah.
always had that, but because knowing he broke both sides, I'm like his eyeball just still just swimming in the abyss. Watch your face. So I just worry about that because people get when they know this is game 3, they know that the fans are going to be trying to let them hear it. I'm just worried about being extra too aggressive to the point that it's like, all right, should we sit and beat early, or is he going to let his pride take over and like overdo it? So
Yeah, I
let's just
mean,
hope that they
I
can
think
go for
27
it.
minutes was good for him. Like that was good. 27
Yeah,
minutes.
and they said he wasn't even on a time restriction. That's what's funny. I just think he knew. Like they said they were going to go by body language or whatever. Like he probably said, "I've done enough. Like I'm not going to slow down the flow here. I'm just going to sit down." I don't think it
Mm,
was like I don't think it was just because Doc wanted to take him out. I think he was more just like, I already know what I'm doing here. I've done enough. Like he has to get his cardio back up. But I don't know. I'm not shocked either way that he was there last night. I kind of felt like he almost felt like he had to do it because of the whole MVP.
like, or he just needed to
That
at least get. You need to get some time in.
yeah, because you're
Yeah.
gonna if any of us people know with the arthritis, it doesn't get better sitting on your ass. You have to keep moving.
Hmm.
It gets harder to get up if you just be still. And I know it's a LCL thing, but it's all relative because as soon as he gets older, that shit's gonna hurt later in his life.
Oh God, yeah.
So and you have to watch, speaking of which, this just made me think. I was watching the new Heights today and Jason Kelsey went on a rant. I just posted it on my page and then on our page on the stories. He
Okay.
Jason Kelsey went on a rant about how turmeric and beet juice does not fucking work. He has to take the pink pills, whatever the pink pills are. Him and, him and Travis both
He's like
agreed.
no.
He said, "Wait," and you had to look at the clip because it cracks me up. I watched it 3 times today because I had it on in the background, and then when I heard him sounding off for like a, I could tell Travis was like, "We don't want to talk about this because they didn't probably want to get in trouble for talking about it." And Kelsey just wanted the whole thing, if
Because
you
he's like,
take your what did he say? If you take your calcium shots, she's like, baby, that doesn't fucking work.
it doesn't work.
He said the pink pill is what's getting me to year 13. He's like, you think I would be able to do this 13? He goes, taking some turmeric pills and some root juice.
Jeez.
He said beet juice. He said he still drinks the beet juice, but he said the point was he's like that whole natural holistic isn't helping him want to
Mm,
come back for another season, knowing he's got as much pain as he has. Which I give him props because, like I said, 13. I
man.
wouldn't feel the rush to come back at this point. Like I'd just be like, you got it, Cam. But he's pushing himself for a reason. So I highly suggest if you all watch podcasts, please watch the latest because then they discuss about the draft later. But Kelsey can go on tangents. I think they had to cut that too because I think he was starting to go on a rant again.
Oh,
Travis
he
was just like, "We
was.
got to cut this because we're gonna get in trouble." Because they said the NFL, you know how they just be suddenly deciding to just take away whatever they think is deemed a P. What do you call them?
P.
PD. Like they did with Lane at one point. Like they were trying to make you seem like you're taking something extra that's not on their list.
Oh yeah.
So I
On
think
their
that's why
unapproved
Travis was
list.
trying to get him to shut up. So they just say, if you take away you take away the pink pills, he goes, we're gonna have a problem. But anyway,
Yeah,
all
I'm
right.
sure it's like something that's probably I don't know what it could be though. It's probably something that's not on the list of
I know it's probably better than 800 ibuprofen, whatever it is, because they
yeah,
they making
right.
it sound. All I think is pink pill, and I think Pepto Bismol. a
I
whole
mean,
other
yeah.
type of, you know what I mean? But anyway, so are you're not feeling bad about 3 or 4, right? At this point, I'm not, honestly.
No, no.
I would be more worried if they lose both games at home. That's when I would be nervous.
Yeah, they need to take three and then see what
Hmm.
happens.
And then 4 can just be a free for all, and they could just win it by like a point, and I'll be happy because then they can
I
go
wouldn't
back
be
to
surprised. I
Boston.
wouldn't be surprised this goes to seven.
I
You
wouldn't either because at this point they still kind of don't really know each other because both teams have kind of had additions and
know.
subtractions on their team, so
Yeah.
they may not really even know each other, even being in Philly. I think by the time they go back to Boston, they go back where they started. That might either really truly decide the series. But yeah, 3 they got to get back on the ball. And just a
Yeah.
shout out too, while I'm on here too, the women's festival was a blast, and I
Oh,
got my little
nice.
pick.
Oh, nice.
Um, I felt like I was having a flashback to my
To
working
your work days.
game day staff pictures we take at the end of the season party. But
I'm
shout
glad
out
you
to
had a.
Shantae.
I'm glad you had a good time. No, that's cool.
I got close to Dallas.
I saw.
I told you I'm not gonna be lusting, but I did tell him I would marry him. He thought it was
Here,
funny.
he just started. He was laughing
He
at
just
you.
thought it was funny while he's trying to concentrate on signing the thing in front of him. I kept touching his leg. I know he's just like, oh my God, why is she touching me? But I think he thought it was funny to the point where he laughed like, ha ha. And I saw the gum. He almost lost the gum. But yeah, I did say it. But I mean, at this point, I'm like fangirling, you know? So
yeah.
as much as I felt stupid later, I was just like, it was worth it because honestly, the game password was not done very well. Honestly, the Virgo and me wish that Dave Spadaro wasn't the host because he clearly didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Sorry. I love you, Dave, but you need to stick to just
you
hosting Google's shows.
he said I love you, Dave, but no.
I love you,
Eh,
Dave, but I could have been a better partner to Dallas. Although shout out to the Asian girl because she was really trying to give her clues well, but that game was slow. That's why they didn't do 2 rounds because they ended up doing name that song later with Jordan Malata and Jurgens, and they did 2 rounds and they selected 2 different girls both times. I was kind of pissed because I was like, password, I could have been up on that stage, but anyway. And then other than that, they gave a nice little tour. You got to sit in the locker rooms and stuff, and that was great. And then we did a video, as you see, if you followed me on my She Talks Ball 78 page. I pinned it to my profile. They did this little video. Well, it was Shantae's friend Ashley, shout out, idea to do a video with the cheerleaders. Because at first I thought we were doing a group photo. And then it
oh,
ended up being a video, and the cheerleaders were already there. So they were like, so she's like, yeah, we want to do a picture. I thought she wanted to do it. Next thing you know, you see
you're
on my page, it looks like a commercial. Like we planned that shit and we didn't. But I liked it so much. I was even tagging the Eagles, like, I think you need to use this in promo
nice.
for next year. So, anyway, but it was a good time. Thank you. Regardless of my mouth, I'm very happy. I finally got close to Dallas Goddard. I think I can live now. I can move on with my life. And yeah, so go Birds. Eddie B, we will talk again because next thing we gotta discuss is how the Sixers do in the second round because we've been here before.
Yes, been
This
here
is usually where I
before.
start becoming very negative if they start looking bad
Yeah,
early.
you do.
Because this is the second. I told you even. I said it. Look, I tried not to even say it early, but in my head, I
Mm,
even said it on Instagram. I said, "Will not be shocked if they get kicked out the second round again."
yeah.
But seeing how Celtics are vulnerable, anything can happen now.
Oh yeah.
How bad do you want it? And now that Embiid is definitely, in fact, the MVP, I want them to push a little harder. You
Heard.
should you should
Yeah.
want to get this African man to the next round just for that.
Hmm.
Okay.
I think it's
Anyway,
it's it's way overdue.
way overdue. So stop being bitches and making the Celtics look good because they're not that good. They can shoot, but they ain't that good. So meanwhile, the Knicks is about to do, and that, you know what? He ain't gonna talk about
Yeah, I
that.
don't even want to talk about the next
Shout
time.
out to Jimmy though. I hope he comes back because I didn't think he was gonna be out that second game, but
Uh,
he Knicks, man. Whew. Who would have thought that would be? Who would have thought the Knicks would be in the second round? Wow.
I did not. Yeah, I didn't foresee
I
that at
didn't
all.
call it. And knowing the stars on that team now are two Villanova with Hart and Brunson.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hart though, because I love the fact that his homeboy be eating in them post interviews. He be like me, hungry. He was trying to sneak that pizza in the last one. I cracked up because I said, just eat it, Negro. You're sitting there with the food. Just eat the pizza.
Yeah.
But I like the realness. Anyway, Ed, all right. Thank you for being available, sir. And we'll the
Hey,
co-eds will
hey.
return again. We'll
Yes.
hopefully talk about I don't know. Possible second round to the next round. We'll see.
Hopefully, yeah.
Go Sixers. Clap your hands. And we'll talk soon, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Birds of a Feather Co-ed edition. We shall be back shortly.
Later.
Enjoy your night. Love y'all. Bye.